Hey guys, welcome to the channel. First off, I'm going to tell you exactly what a French cleat is. Well, it's a 45-degree angle cut on one piece, typically sloping downwards, and a piece of wood that is cut at a 45 like this, and it's on a wall with the slope facing backwards. Again, you put this on, and easily you're able to make a bracket or whatever you want to use. The system is amazing. Is it strong? Let me show you. Okay, to show you how strong these are my angle brackets. They're about 1.25 inches width on both the top and the bottom. And I'm gonna put them up on the wall and hang from it. I'm 260 pounds. Here we go. Enough said. So it's safe to say that this system is strong, and it's also hugely versatile. I'm gonna give you a quick example of something that I made a while back, 4 or 5 years ago. And if you guessed it, well, yeah, it holds a smartphone. And it's traveled with me on almost every French cleat space I've had. So let's get into this build. All right, thanks for joining me, guys. We're gonna start this build by cutting down some 3/4 inch Baltic birch. I'm cutting, well, a lot. These are 5.5 inch pieces that are gonna be ripped in half at a 45 degree. Make sure you got that angle set just like this. Now, here's an example of how not to do this very safely. I'm just doing it by hand. Anybody who's ever cut a 45 degree angle on a table saw knows that it can pull the material just a little bit. So definitely install some type of featherboard like you see here. So you would think that just cutting these cleats to make 2 even pieces would be pretty easy. You can't just half the material width and set the fence and be done with it. There's actually a pretty extensive formula. I'm gonna write it in the description, okay? No need to tell it here. It's easier to read. That way you can figure it out. So if you're curious about how to get these things dead even, look in the description. There will be the formula for how to cut French cleats on the table saw directly in half. All right, so here you go. You see me stacking them up here on the work table, and I've got quite a few cleats. You think, well, how many cleats are you gonna install in this new area? Well, I'm not gonna install this many. And the reason I'm cutting all these down, well, that'll become clear here soon. But look at all those sharp edges. Actually, that looks pretty cool. If you look at the sharp edges of cleats, well, there's a couple things that can go wrong. 1, they can cut you up pretty good. 2, they can also get damaged. If you put your tool holder on it and take it off in a way, that really thin edge that you see me showing you here can actually just chip off, and it's not a good situation. So it's always nice to cut off about 1/8 of an inch, which happens to be the width of the kerf of this blade. So I set my table saw fence up, and I run each piece through it with the blade only raising just above the surface of the table saw. And I do this over and over and over. And the reason I'm making so many, well, I think not everybody has access to a table saw, and they might be scared to make a 45. Let me explain. Yeah, it's a lot of work to make these cleats, but I think it's worth it. But I realize that not every maker has a table saw, or if they do, they're afraid to make them because the 45 degree angle cut is not the safest thing on the planet. So I now offer cleats to go up on the wall. These are 24-inch sections. They're 3 inches at their highest point, and they're made from premium Baltic birch plywood. Here's the deal. I couldn't ship an 8-foot section out, so I've taken 8-foot sections, I've cut them down into these, and now these are 4 packs for sale on the website right now. So if you've always wanted to get into this but never had the means or the wherewithal to make the cleats, I now do it for you. Check the link below. I'm really excited to get this out. And I hope you guys really enjoy. So back to the video. Okay, but this video is about cleats and how you can make them and install them for yourself the best way that I have known. So what I've done here is I've cut down cleats that are 4 foot in length. I've cut them from 5.5 inch material, which leaves me a cleat at the highest point at 3 inches. All that being said, you see me here putting them all together on a workbench, and I find the center mark. And then I mark 11 inches from that center mark over twice, left and right. I'm then able to transfer that line over to each one of these, because I think when cleats are on a wall, how you establish them to be on the wall needs to have some type of symmetry or semblance of order. I just think it looks better. And as you see here, these lines are pretty straight, and we're gonna mark, well, I'm not gonna mark where to drill them. I'm actually gonna set the drill press up to help me with that, but more on that in just a second. The coolest part about this is if you're doing a whole bunch, the marks are then on the piece that's clamped in place to create essentially the nesting area. I just line all the cleats back up and use those marks, only measure once, and then you've got a whole bunch of functionality here and repeatability. So I've set the drill press fence away from the drill bit about 3/4 of an inch. And then I drill all the holes on those marks. I then flip the piece over and repeat the same process. This gives me 2 holes, countersunk by about maybe 1/8 of an inch, and that's gonna give you the best strength possible. You definitely wanna go the 2-screw method with a little bit taller cleat. Okay, the plywood walls are finished, and I know this outside needs to be revamped, and that might be in a future video, who knows. But we're gonna really concentrate on the inside now. I spent the better part of the evening making all these cleats, 50 cleats in total. I actually made more than that. But I will say this, I had drilled 500 individual holes, and we're gonna install these things now right on those solid wood walls. That's the beauty of solid wood walls. You guys know if you have them, you can put anything you want anywhere you want, and that is, well, the ultimate freedom in the making space for sure. All right, let's get busy. So we're gonna breathe new life into this old shed by installing plywood walls and putting a new cleat system in it as well. Okay, now that everything is cut, you're gonna take your strip and you're gonna need a brad nailer. It'll become clear soon. You think brad nails? Well, yeah, something to tack it in place. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to butt this up on the edge right at the line. You can keep your level handy just in case you need it, but I like to pre-do all that work. Yep, looks good. So what I'll do is I'll take the nail gun and right in between the holes, just like that. Make sure we're level. Now you could probably do every other one like I did there. However, I do like to put a brad nail in each one, because when you start to drive these screws, because only this cleat is pre-drilled, the wall behind it is not, and might want to come out. The brad nail is actually going to help you in that regard, and it's going to leave it up against the wall, not giving you any pushback when you attach these to the wall. So let's do that. So here begins the long process of installing these cleats, and it's definitely worth it. I'm using panhead screws for this. You can use countersunk screws, whatever you want. Just make sure that you countersink down at least 1/8 of an inch. That way the screw head isn't protruding out. You don't want anything getting in the way of putting these cleats up. That being said, do the work of making sure you have a level line across your entire area. Now you can use a laser level for this, I just don't have one. So I did it the old fashioned way with a level and a pencil, and I'm following along all the way down. Now if I need to make some cuts, that's fine. Take it over to the miter saw and make some cuts. I actually got one of these cool Evolution saws that cut all kinds of material. Only cutting wood for this project, but evidently this thing can cut through metal, nails, aluminum, you name it. And quite frankly, it did pretty well in this process too, cutting plywood. So let me go back to the point of the strength of this system. These holes are every 11 inches. I wouldn't go more than that. And the fact of the matter is that the cleat itself is 3 inches from top to bottom at its highest point, which gives me about 1.25 inches between holes. And that is plenty. I know this doesn't look like a ton of work, but it truly was. So at this point, it's time to move the 8-foot shipping station from the shop to the new shed. So I called my buddy over here, and we made pretty quick work of it. No joke, it was heavy, but it's back on the cleat system now, and I thank him for it for sure. Is it strong? Well, I talked about it in the beginning of the video, and there I am putting my body on the line. Yeah, it's hugely strong to support me and the weight of that countertop. So now about the spacing. I get a lot of questions about the spacing of cleats. My favorite spacing is roughly 10 inches on center. I made these 2 7-inch blocks. I've got 3-inch cleats, so 2 7-inch blocks that go every single layer up. I use the same blocks over and over again. No level again, no pencil marks. I'm using blocks on already registered level cleats, and this process goes really quick now. Now a little tip for you here, if you want to make sure you get the same level line on the edge, just use your spacer block to line up the bottom, and then when you install the top cleat, you've got the exact same level mark. As you see here, I need to make a cut. I'm going to use the same technique here. I'm going to move my level mark or my spacer block over. I'm going to make a mark, make the cut, and then I've got the exact same length that I need to make sure everything looks nice, even, and congruent. So during the process of cutting these down, you're going to have to probably drill some countersinks. Again, my little favorite countersink bore you get from Harbor Freight in a 3-pack. go ahead and make your marks and install them as you need them. So we're here on the final stretch. I'm installing the last bit of cleats at the very top. I didn't go all the way to the floor, but I do have an extensive build on this entire process, turning a rough, dilapidated shed into what you see here. This shed had seen better days. It's now been insulated. It's now been retrofitted with all these new cleats, and that video will be coming out in about a week's time from the air of this video. So be on the lookout for that. So as you can see, guys, here is the system. These shelves were designed to go around like an electrical panel in the other shop, and they easily just came and nestled in place, and everything looks great in here, and I'm really excited to get my shipping operation away from the shop, get back to real woodworking over there, and do this in a separate space. Now, this cleat system that I offer is down below again. If you've always been worried about cutting on a 45 or just how you're gonna make this because you don't have a table saw, well, today's the day. I'm offering them down below. Check the description. Now, I do want to say one more thing. Don't go yet. All right, there are 3 gentlemen in this space that I'm going to give a huge shout out here to that I think are, well, they're my French cleat inspirations for 3 different meanings, okay, for 3 different ways and why they do. The first one is Pete, man. Pete, oh man, I can't even say enough about Pete. Pete Squared, he's on Instagram and YouTube. I'll link all these gentlemen's profiles down below, but Pete's mind with his French cleat creations, man, he is unbelievably talented and gifted in how he's able to just kind of make Fusion 360 come to life and make kind of whatever he wants. It's pretty amazing. Another one is Steve at Making It Home. Steve has got the ultimate organization eye. He's got a clamp rack that is to die for. You got to check it out. His Instagram is down below as well. And then I couldn't be without cleat inspiration without my buddy Clinton at Specific Lug, the OG. Oh man, the OG cleat master. He is unreal. He's got videos about 20 different styles of cleats for various options, probably 5 or 6 of those videos as well. And there is a ton of information for all kinds of situations, and that's definitely worth watching as well. So all 3 guys linked down below. Please go check them out. Tell them I sent you. And if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you're not interested in this kind of thing, subscribe, and I will see you on that next video. And until then, my name's Chris. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day.